Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, we all know that Kindiki has been struggling to adjust to the new status of a deputy president. After serving for 2 years in the capacity of Interior Cabinet Secretary dealing with Homeland Security, Kindiki was tough. Whenever he issued statements, he would appear to be tough. Now, this current status requires that he softens a bit. So if you've been monitoring Kindiki lately, you realize that he is struggling to adjust. Now, talking about struggling to adjust, you remember the statement that he issued about national interest vis-a-vis public interest, a matter which has caught the attention of so many Kenyans, thinking that he only meant that the Supreme Court or the judiciary should focus on the national interest, the country's interest, not the people's interest. And this is the reason why Kindiki had to come publicly and defend his position. And for the first time, we've come across a deputy president who is correcting himself because of the media, or rather the public outbursts regarding his statement. So I want to take you through a video where Kindiki is trying to correct his previous statement by trying to expound on a point which, according to him, he thinks that people did not understand well. So before we get further on this analysis, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to kindly urge you to go below there, locate a button with the word subscribe. Please hit that button once, that is if you are not subscribed. And also, don't forget to like this video. It's so important because that is the only way YouTube shares our content to many people. Thanks so much for that support. Now, Kindiki, word has it that he has flown out. It's for his first international duty. But Kindiki has found it rough. Initially, when he was the Cabinet Secretary Interior, he could ignore the media perception, the public perception, the reactions from Kenyans. He could ignore and only work according to the task at hand. And he was not apologetic. But this time round, I'm shocked. I want to pay a very close attention to this video.
That Article 238 says that there are certain core interests of Kenya that must be protected. And so what I was asking, I said maybe the courts needs to think whether we can have a hierarchy of national interests. The general public interest on everything else, and very basic and existential interest on which the survival of the nation rests. Because, for example, when we have had, for example, challenges in allowing the people of Kenya to exercise their rights, which are protected in the Constitution, we have seen, for example, that right, for example, need also to be balanced in the need to protect the country and constitutional institutions. Because we saw an attempt to violate the Chief Justice's chambers by people who are expressing their rights, which is correct. But you see, if you destroy the emblems that makes the state to exist, burn down parliament, you know, those are extreme measures. And all what I said, just to be brief, I was not prescribing. I was just asking the judges to provide leadership, as is their mandate in the Constitution, to tell us whether there is a hierarchy of interests. Because the other commercial issues, the public interest is easily discernible. But sometimes there could be a conflict between what is popular or what the public is saying and the existence of the state. And I provided evidence at Chapter 1 of the Constitution, which is the foundational principles, and Article 238 that tells our organs of national security to protect.
Very well, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I believe you have your own understanding on what Kithure Kindiki has said there. But again, I don't know how many of you have noticed that Kithure Kindiki speaks a lot of law, uses a lot of law terminologies which don't resonate well with majority of Kenyans. I think he's supposed to use a language that people can easily understand. Him being a professor, it's okay. He's a professor. No, we're okay with that. But he should at least understand that he is speaking to that villager who maybe could have only gone to Form 4, or rather left, could not finish school, maybe left at, well, he was maybe in Form 1, or she was in Form 1, or maybe in class 8, someone who can understand basic English. But the terminologies which Kithure Kindiki uses, basically from understanding, I think he's being unfair. He's being unfair to some of citizens who don't understand such terminologies, law terminologies. Now, let's get back to our analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Kithure Kindiki has literally apologized for making a statement which was consumed differently, that is according to him. You know, I've realized that this matter of Kithure Kindiki saying public interest should not be given priority, whereas national interest should be given priority. I've realized that this narrative has not sat well with so many people. I want to take it to one particular reaction from a leader regarding that statement.
Because national interest here, for them, it does not mean national interest in terms of the interest of Kenya. The national interest here means their political interest. And for that matter, those are dangerous discussions, that if those are strong institutions, someone should go to court for interpretation on what exactly it means. But now people are fearing going to court because you go to court. Remember, if you go to court as a civilian, you spend your own money. But the state has got Attorney General's office where it's funded by your own taxpayers' money to work against you. Can you imagine that somebody has your money to act against you when you go to court, while for you have to look for another money after paying taxes, and no one supports you? I've gone to court with 46 cases. That's why.
Very well, ladies and gentlemen. I think because of that reason and other reasons and many reactions and Kenyans talking here and there, Kithure has had to actually correct his statement. So he has corrected his statement. I think he could have realized that he is now a national leader who is supposed to balance between the government and the public interest. I think Kithure Kindiki needs to understand that he is a bridge between the presidency and the people. That is the same way I think Gachagua realized. The only thing is that Gachagua's only mistake was that he was always speaking about Mount Kenya. He could have been, if at all he was speaking about Kenyans all, maybe he would have been safe a bit. But most of his utterances were always about Mount Kenya. But that's just something that you already know about. So, but Kithure Kindiki needs to understand that he is like a bridge between the Kenyans, citizens, and the president. So he needs to be an assistant of William Ruto. And by that, he needs to balance. He can't just come out and say that national interest be given priority. That is what he used to do when he was an Interior Cabinet Secretary. So most likely, like maybe I could be right by saying that Kithure Kindiki has found it pretty hard to adjust to the current status of being the deputy president. It took Rigathi Gachagua almost 1 year to also adjust, because first of all, you realize that Rigathi was always about the issues Uhuru caused. So he was trying to create a narrative that Uhuru stole a lot of money, and at the same time trying to defend the current regime, that the current regime was doing the best it can to correct Uhuru's messes. You know, it took Rigathi Gachagua some time to before understanding that that was going to work to his disadvantage. And of course, that has already worked to his disadvantage, because he made those very strong statements, then he came later on and corrected the same statements, and the government found him a bit funny. Let me use the word funny. That's what Ruto could have seen in Rigathi Gachagua. But Rigathi Gachagua was just being a defender of the people. You know, in life, we make mistakes. You make a mistake, correct your mistake. That is the way it's supposed to be. So most likely, Rigathi Gachagua could have realized that he made a mistake previously. Now he was trying to correct things so that things can go in the right order. So Rigathi was merely a bridge between William Ruto and Kenyans, advising William Ruto on what is happening on the ground. That is what Kithure Kindiki should do if he has ambitions of becoming a president of this country one day. So I would like to put that matter to rest. But until you catch up again, please kindly subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like this video until you catch up again. Stay safe and stay blessed.